Welcome, my dear friends. Today, let's explore a beautiful ancient concept from Taoist philosophy known as Wu Wei, which translates roughly to non-doing or effortless action. This concept, though ancient, holds profound relevance in our fast-paced modern life. Imagine a life where things flow smoothly, where efforts align seamlessly with outcomes, where stress and struggle dissolve. This is the art of Wu Wei, and understanding it can transform how you approach life, work, and relationships. In the first part of our discussion, let's dive into the foundational principles of Wu Wei. It's crucial to grasp that Wu Wei doesn't advocate for laziness or inactivity. Instead, it's an invitation to align more closely with the natural world, acting when it's necessary and pausing when it's not. Think of the way water flows in a river. It bends around rocks. It doesn't try to force its way through them. Water is soft and yielding, and yet it can carve valleys and canyons over time. This is Wu Wei, the mighty power of gentle persistence. Now, how can you start applying Wu Wei in your daily life? The first step is to recognize the difference between forcing and flowing. Consider how often you push yourself unnecessarily, creating stress and resistance. We've all experienced moments when something feels unduly difficult or when we're trying to control outcomes obsessively. Reflect on the last time you felt this way. Was there an alternative path you could have taken that might have required less struggle? Moreover, the practice of Wu Wei involves cultivating a deep trust in the process of life. It requires us to let go of our incessant need to control. But how do you relinquish control without feeling adrift? The key lies in understanding and setting your intentions clearly but not being attached to how these intentions unfold. This is a subtle art. It's about making plans, yes, but it's also about being open to the journey taking different forms, some of which may lead to unexpected and fruitful outcomes. Let's also touch upon the role of intuition in Wu Wei. Intuition is like an inner compass that guides us through decisions without the cumbersome process of overthinking. When you cultivate a state of calm awareness, decisions and actions often arise naturally without force. It's like knowing when to speak in a conversation and when to listen. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the best things you said came effortlessly and not from trying hard to impress? To bring Wu Wei into your life, start small. Begin by observing where you feel resistance in your day. Is there a task or obligation that feels particularly burdensome? Ask yourself if there's a simpler, more aligned way to approach it. Sometimes the solution is not to work harder, but to see the problem from a new angle, where the solution emerges naturally, effortlessly. As we conclude this first part, I invite you to reflect on the areas of your life where you might be applying too much force. Could a gentler approach, one that flows with the natural currents of life, bring better results? Harmonizing connections. The transformative power of Wu Wei in relationships. In this next segment, let us explore how embracing Wu Wei can enhance our relationships with others. For many, interpersonal interactions can be a source of great joy and profound challenge. By applying the principles of Wu Wei, we can foster deeper connections and a more harmonious coexistence. Consider the nature of relationships, which are often riddled with expectations and demands. We sometimes exert force in our interactions, perhaps pushing for outcomes that suit us but neglect the needs or feelings of others. Wu Wei teaches us to approach relationships differently, emphasizing receptivity and responsiveness over control and insistence. In the realm of interpersonal dynamics, Wu Wei advises a path of least resistance. This isn't about being passive. It's about being attuned to the energies of those around you and responding in a way that is both thoughtful and respectful. It's about knowing when to act and when to yield. For instance, think about a time when you had a disagreement with someone. Did escalating the conflict resolve the issue, or did it intensify the tension? Often, stepping back, listening, and allowing space can lead to more natural and effective resolutions. One of the most beautiful aspects of Wu Wei in relationships is the cultivation of patience. Patience is not simply waiting, it's an active engagement in the process of transformation that occurs over time. It involves understanding that not all problems need to be solved immediately, and that sometimes the best solution arises when we are not actively seeking it. In your next challenging interaction, try to practice patience. Observe what changes when you give the situation some time to unfold on its own. Furthermore, Wu Wei encourages us to practice empathy and understanding. By putting ourselves in the shoes of another, we open up a space where true listening can occur. This does not mean losing your voice in the relationship. Rather, it means integrating your perspective with the perspectives of others to find a harmonious middle path. True empathy requires a kind of egolessness, where the focus shifts from "I need" or "I want to," we grow and we understand. Another key element in applying Wu Wei to relationships is recognizing and respecting boundaries, both yours and those of others. Boundaries are not barriers, they are the definitions that help relationships flourish. They allow us to interact within safe and respectful limits and are fundamental in creating a healthy dynamic. When we respect boundaries, we move fluidly within the given space, much like water shapes itself to the container it fills. Additionally, Wu Wei in relationships means letting go of the need to be right. In many conflicts, the desire to win the argument overtakes the desire to resolve the issue constructively. When you adopt Wu Wei, you prioritize harmony and understanding over victory. This shift in perspective can dramatically change the course of interactions, leading to more positive and constructive outcomes. To integrate Wu Wei into your relationships, start by examining the quality of your interactions. Are they forceful or flowing? Do you listen as much as you speak? Are you attentive to the needs of others while also honoring your own? Practice being present in each interaction, giving your full attention and openness to the person you are engaging with. This presence is the essence of Wu Wei, acting naturally and effortlessly in tune with the moment. As we wrap up this part of our exploration, consider how your relationships might transform if you practice non-action in the face of conflict, patience in the face of urgency, and empathy in the face of misunderstanding. How might your interactions change if you allowed them to unfold in their own time and way, harmonizing with the natural rhythms? Wu Wei in personal growth and self-development. As we progress further into the intricacies of Wu Wei, it's vital to turn our attention inward, to the realm of personal growth and self-development. Here, the principles of Wu Wei can be profoundly transformative, helping us navigate our inner landscapes with grace and ease. Personal growth often involves challenges and obstacles, much like a river encounters rocks and bends. In our journey towards self-improvement, we frequently confront our limits and face our fears. But what if, instead of pushing against these challenges with brute force, we learn to flow around them like water? This approach, inspired by Wu Wei, encourages us not to force change upon ourselves, but rather to allow growth to unfold naturally. Consider how plants grow. They do not strive to sprout faster or bloom more vigorously than their natural rhythm allows. They simply respond to the conditions provided: sunlight, water, and soil. Similarly, our personal growth can be optimized by creating conditions conducive to development rather than by imposing harsh expectations on ourselves. This means nurturing ourselves with kindness, feeding our minds with enriching experiences, and allowing ourselves the time to process and adapt to changes. In the context of self-development, Wu Wei teaches us the art of gentle persistence. It's about being persistent in our efforts, but also gentle in our approach. For example, if you're trying to adopt a new habit or let go of an old one, the Wu Wei approach would not involve rigorous self-criticism or impatiently demanding quick results. Instead, it invites a patient, steady practice where progress is recognized and setbacks are seen as natural parts of the learning curve. Moreover, applying Wu Wei to self-development means honoring your natural cycles of energy and motivation. Just as the day turns into night and the seasons change, our personal energies fluctuate. There are times when we feel highly energetic and driven, and other times when our spirits wane. Wu Wei encourages us to be attuned to these cycles and to act accordingly, engaging in more demanding tasks when our energy is high and allowing ourselves rest and reflection when our energy dips. Another profound lesson Wu Wei offers in the realm of personal growth is the concept of non-resistance. Resistance often manifests as internal conflict, such as battling against parts of ourselves we dislike or fear. Wu Wei suggests a different path, one of acceptance and integration. By accepting all parts of ourselves, even those we find challenging, we reduce internal conflict and allow a more holistic, unified state of being to emerge. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging our current state while also recognizing our potential for change. In practical terms, start applying Wu Wei to your personal growth by noticing when you're pushing too hard or being too harsh on yourself. Practice self-compassion and remind yourself that growth is a process, with its ebbs and flows. Engage in practices that align with your natural rhythms, perhaps adopting a more flexible schedule, prioritizing tasks based on your current energy levels, or integrating mindfulness practices to enhance self-awareness and acceptance. As we conclude this segment, reflect on how your journey towards personal growth might change if you embrace the principles of Wu Wei. Imagine a path defined not by struggle and strain, but by fluidity and grace. How might this shift affect your perception of self-development and the goals you set for yourself? The subtle mastery of life. Embracing Wu Wei in everyday existence. In this final exploration of the Taoist concept of Wu Wei, we delve into its practical application across the broader spectrum of everyday life. Wu Wei, which encourages actions that are in harmony with the natural order, provides a profound framework for navigating our daily existence with less strife and more grace. Consider the daily tasks that fill our lives, such as the commute to work, often fraught with traffic and delays. Instead of resisting these inevitable occurrences, Wu Wei teaches acceptance and mindfulness. For example, using the time in traffic to listen to a podcast or an audiobook transforms a frustrating scenario into a productive or relaxing experience. This approach reduces stress and enhances daily life by finding harmony even in chaos. When faced with decisions, Wu Wei advises against overanalyzing or agonizing over the options. Instead, it suggests taking a step back, perhaps engaging in meditative practices or simply giving the decision some time. This relaxed approach allows answers to arise naturally and often more effectively than when forced in a state of stress. In dealing with stress and anxiety, Wu Wei encourages recognizing the limits of our control. For issues beyond our control, it teaches release and acceptance, and for those within our reach, it advises action without attachment to outcomes. This philosophy helps manage anxiety by reducing the pressure from needing specific results, thereby enhancing our ability to handle life's uncertainties. Wu Wei also transforms our interpersonal relationships. It encourages responding to conflicts with flexibility and openness rather than impulsivity. By reacting with understanding and patience, Wu Wei creates space for genuine dialogue and connection, improving the quality of interactions and reducing conflicts. Moreover, Wu Wei enriches our lives by promoting intentional living. It invites us to align our actions with our deeper values and the natural rhythms of the world. This doesn't involve rigid planning, but rather setting intentions while staying open to the unpredictability of life. This approach allows for a life that unfolds more beautifully and effortlessly than we might have planned. As we conclude our journey through the principles of Wu Wei, reflect on how this ancient wisdom might be applied in your own life. Consider areas of resistance or struggle and envision approaching these with the principles of Wu Wei. The practice of non-doing is subtle, not demanding attention but gently guiding us toward a more harmonious existence. Embracing Wu Wei doesn't mean withdrawing from the world but engaging with it more profoundly. By aligning closely with the natural order, our actions, though seemingly effortless, carry profound impacts. This is the art of living wisely and well, a skill that, once honed, promises a life of balance, fulfillment, and peace. Let us embark on this path together, exploring how each step taken in non-doing actually brings us closer to our truest selves and the heart of life itself.